Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am PJ. I wanted to shoot this video outside with better visuals, but it is really windy outside, so you're stuck in the office. Hey, this is not the only prepper channel you watch. I am convinced. I'm glad you're watching this one. Thank you. But you're probably watching others. I do. You're probably bringing in information off the internet and perhaps other sources. You probably have conversations with people of a preparedness nature. If you don't, you should. Hold on, this. And as such, as a prepper interested person, you probably have feelings about we could very potentially be on the cusp of World War III. You know, we got Russia, Europe, we got China, Taiwan, South China Sea, we've got Iran, Israel, Gaza, Palestine, you know, all that. Venezuela, Guyana, you know, world's getting a little crazy. You probably are aware of the precarious state of the financial situation, and the house of cards could fall, right? You're probably aware that our grid, our electric grid, could go down, whether that is an EMP, a coronal mass ejection, terrorism, hacking. We could have a huge hack attack on a bunch of different things that could crush society. Pandemic. They're getting ready to bring out the next one. You probably have a feeling and understanding for the state of corruption and legitimacy and all that of the government and where that's going. There's lots of talk of Civil War II or balkanization of America. You are aware of these themes, right? Many people are. And the thing that bugs me, and it bugs me from a perspective of, a sense of, an angle of, I actually care about you. I don't even know you, and I actually care about you, but it bugs me to see people who are aware of all this, and they spend a lot of time going, yeah, oh yeah, oh my, and that, and you're not doing a darn thing about it personally. If you think there's a possibility to probability of any of those things that I started out talking about happening within the next 5 years, what are you doing about it? Like, what are you doing about it? And I recently asked that question on a prepper board that I'm on, and I kind of phrased it that way. Not quite as many words because I had to type them with my thumbs. See? And I got a couple different responses. People who are doing stuff and people who are whining and making excuses. And then somebody said, well, why don't you tell us what you're doing? Oh, you know, that's fair. That's fair, right? You posed the question, what are you doing there, big guy? And we'll get to that. We'll get to what I'm doing. But there's a pretty good number of Christian preppers who believe they have a strong faith, and they say things like, Jesus is my preparation. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know, I just trust in Jesus. That's all I'm going to do. And so it bugs the crap out of me. Oh, I trust in Yeshua, Jesus. But their attitude bugs me. And if that's your attitude, you know, grow some thick skin, because I'm about to talk about it. That's crap. Why are you on a prepper channel at all? Why are you watching a prepper video or reading a prepper news article to which your response is, I trust in Jesus? Meaning, for most of these people, you know, I paint with a broad brush. Meaning, I don't really need to prep anymore or at all because Jesus has got me, and when he calls me home, I'm ready to go. I hope that when he calls you home, you're ready to go, full stop. However, comma, you don't really believe that. You don't. Why don't you just walk across 4 lanes of traffic without looking? I mean, if Jesus wants you to make it, you're going to make it. And if he doesn't, you're going to die. And if he's ready to call you home, you're ready to go. And I could use other examples, but I don't want to hurt your feelings. But it's a crap response from those people. They don't really believe that. What it is they're either too afraid to confront the reality of what they think is coming, or the potential reality, perceived reality, whatever, or they're just lazy. They're just lazy, and they don't want to prepare. So there's some argument to that. Another one that I see a lot is, I'm too old. That's crap. I am well into my 60s. My father is well into his 80s, and he carries a rucksack and a rifle in the mountains and goes hunting every year. You're not too old. If you say you're too old, you are. I'm too old. Yeah, well, I guess you should just curl up in the fetal position and die then. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? Do the best you can with what you got where you're at. Never say you're too old. You may have to modify things. I cannot do now what I used to do when I was a 35-year-old Green Beret. Okay, but I can approximate it. Right? You do the best you can, and then don't worry about what you can't do. Focus on what you can do. And then the other comment that I see is, oh, it's easy for you. And again, we're back to that. You're a Green Beret, and you know these things, and blah, blah, blah. And you've been doing it forever, and therefore, sour grapes. Yeah, I can't do what you do. And that's crap. We have people who we call our tribe Shofarians. We have people who just joined our tribe. We have he just turned 20, a 19-year-old who came down here. You think he had money? He had no money. He had enough gas money to get here, and now he's got land. He's got a cabin. Okay, it's one of those Lowe's sheds that he bought used, but he's got a cabin, he's got land, he's got tribe. If you want to do it, you can do it. And so my overarching theme is, if you believe these things are probable, why are you not taking steps to do it? Shame on you. Get busy. Get away from your Babylonian rectangle of death here. Get off the computer and start doing stuff. Start doing what you can do. Okay, now to answer the question that the person asked me, because I said I will do a video for YouTube to answer this question, to give it broader appeal. I do videos every day, darn near every day. More than one a day across all the spectrum on my Patreon account. Patreon, Viking Preparedness. You can get started for $1 a month. That's not even a cup of coffee. I don't think that's half a cup of coffee a month. And I tell people all the time, join for $1. If you hate it, quit. You lost $1. You can find $1 on the street. And if you like it, which you will, you'll stay. But I'm there every day. Darn near. All right, what do I do? I don't know what order to put it in. First of all, I realize there's a problem. I'm not one of those people that just types about it. I type about it, and then I show and offer potential solutions or actions to take to mitigate what's coming. So I recognize the problem. The first step in the problem-solving process is recognizing the problem, right? Properly identifying the problem. And so I see what's coming. And in my mind, there are many things lining up that could create a total collapse of services. How about that? Anything you depend on. Electricity, water flowing through your pipes, fire, EMS, police, food distribution, gasoline distribution. I can see many scenarios where the entire system could collapse. And I'm not talking about Hurricane Katrina or this fake pandemic that they dusted off a couple years ago, where life got uncomfortable for people, but it was in a short period of span. I'm talking things that happen and then, oh, we're in it. We're in it. I can see that happening. And so I recognize the problem, and I decided to take steps to protect me and mine. Steps that you can take. one of the first things is I got out of the built-up areas. Kuhimp, come out of her, my people, lest you partake of her sins and receive of her plagues. Things are going to be awful when the system goes where there's a lot of people. If there's a lot of people, it's going to be terrible. And so I moved out to the country. Move into the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. I tell people to get away from the built-up areas and move to a place, a house, build a house, buy a house, rent a house, I don't care, where they don't deliver pizza. That's a good rule of thumb. If you can't get pizza delivered, you might be far enough out. Now, people say, I can't. No. That's a lie. You can. First of all, there's good jobs in the country. We had a brother who moved from one of the northern tier states where he was an engineer and making engineer money. And he moved to the Ozarks, got a job with Walmart, making the same money, the same engineering money, but now he's living in the Ozarks instead of the Twin Cities or wherever he came from. So his money goes a lot further. So there are jobs. There are internet jobs. You can do the internet anywhere. You can get internet. And believe it or not, people in the country work. So you can do it. There are a lot less... if you can't order a pizza delivered, you're not going to have Ethiopian food delivered to your house, right? There's not a great variety of great restaurants to go to, and all those things that come, all the shiny baubles of Babylon, they don't really exist out in the countryside. But you can do that. So I moved to the country, moved to the Ozarks. We picked the Ozarks on purpose. Doesn't matter. Well, I'll tell you, it kind of goes with this video because I believe it is one of the best places in the United States to weather what's coming if you're a God-fearing person. People who try to fake it and come, they don't fit in at all. Doesn't go that well for them. All right, so there's that. Number 2, I am building, it's not done. We live off-grid. The people, I love it. I make this video for YouTube, and I always get wise asses on YouTube. Shut up. You don't live off-grid, you're making a video. Well, then your definition of off-grid and mine are different. I have no I have no utilities coming onto this property. There's no water pipes, there's no electrical lines, no gas pipes coming onto the property. There's internet pipes coming onto the property. It's just a sideways iPhone. But we're off-grid. Now, we are on solar. We have wells. We have rain catchment. We buy propane. But on Shofar Mountain proper, we have 3 Pioneer Made, Pioneer Princess wood cook stoves, many wood burner stoves in all the various cabins and houses. And so, yes, we do use propane, which could go away like that. But we're set up, and we do also use wood. And we have so much wood, it's not even a thing. And yes, we have chainsaws and all the spare parts and all the gas and oil, right? That could go away. But we also have, it's behind that stuff. We have 2-man crosscut saws, big 1-man crosscut saws. We have several of those. We have more axes than you can shake a stick at. Believe me, we'll have firewood. If we need it. And so we have the ability to heat our homes, to power things with our, my wife uses a battery-powered chainsaw because it's lighter. And we charge that with our solar system. Our flashlights are charged with our solar system. We have those powered solar generators to supplement power. And so if the grid goes down for anything other than an EMP, we won't even know for a while, because all our stuff will still work. And as far as EMP goes, we had a Boeing engineer come out here and set up our solar systems and have taken great steps to mitigate EMP with the use of ferrites and twisting cables and all kinds of things. And it's like, it's what they do on the really important airplanes. So we're going to see if it works here. If it doesn't, we've got wood stoves and, kerosene lanterns with more kerosene than you can shake a stick at. We'll be able to have light. Our lamps will have oil. So there's that. We've set up Offgrid. We have formed tribe. We started when we came. That sounded nice, dog. We started when we came here with just a handful of families, and we are a lot bigger now. And that's really all I say on the internet. But we're a lot bigger, and we have tribe of like-minded people, the vast majority of whom moved here from other places. We do have a few, like 3, I think, families that grew up local, meaning Ozarks, maybe 4. But the vast majority of us moved here and then found each other, and then we're tribe. And when I say we're tribe, I don't mean we just get together and drink coffee. We are training on various things. I don't want to exaggerate. We're getting together. We get together for Shabbat, for church, every week. We get together midweek most of the time for men's, women's group kind of thing. A lot of churches do that, right? But those churches aren't tribe. Then we get together probably 3 times every 2 weeks for various training events, whether it's shooting, first aid, commo, or work days where we get together and clear land or fix a truck or move rocks or whatever. We're doing life together. Even though, some of us have 9-to-5s and stuff like that, but we make time for each other. So we have tribe, which on my Patreon channel, I hit it hard. You're gonna need people. You want to be self-reliant, you want to be independent of the system, and that's good. But I'm telling you, you're gonna need people, and so we have people. So we do that. We store food. We have a requirement, which doesn't matter to you. Make up your own requirement of how much food every person has stored to get us through the initial whatever. I say most, that's just a word. I can't do the math in my head right now. Most of us are agriculturally minded, meaning we not only have gardens, almost all of us have gardens to continue to produce food, to become, as the Bear Independent says, net producers of calories, not net consumers. And also all that food storage, the minute you open up that first long-term food storage bucket, you start the stopwatch to your starvation. So we're producing food, and we're growing gardens. We got people raising cattle, people raising sheep, people raising goats, chickens, ducks, turkeys, yada yada yada. I think there's somebody trying to do tilapia. I tried that once, but let them try. So we're trying to produce our own food. So there's that. What are you doing, PJ, if you think the whole system's going to collapse? This tribe out of the way from the built up areas, producing food, storing food. We have our security well in hand. I'll just say that on a level that the vast majority of mags don't have. Some do. Some are probably better. We've got good security, and we train on security, and that's about all I'm going to say. Commo, same thing. We have commo, multiple means over vast distances. We're good. Can we be better? Absolutely. We can be better in everything, but I'm just telling you what we're doing. What else? Because I don't have a list. I didn't make a list to tell you what we're doing. Out of all that, the most important part for us is our faith, which is rock solid. It is the primary requirement for us to even consider new members. Like, there's no pass and go without that. So we have good faith, strong faith, and we have like minds like you wouldn't believe. Meaning, I know that my brother or my sister over there thinks this way on these big, important issues. I don't have to worry about them. That's huge. That's huge. I tell people, figure out yourself what are the most important things to you. Whatever they are. No judgment zone. What's the most important thing to you? and then surround yourself with people who feel similarly. If you think your family, your little nuclear family, the people who live in your house is the most important thing in the world, you don't want to live, you don't want to align yourself, you don't want to form a mag with, a crew, whatever, with people who think, F that, I'll kick my old lady to the curb and I'm going to go do these things. You don't want to be with that person, right? Because they don't value family if that's your most important value. If you value God more important than anything else, I would submit to you, what about God do you value? Because lots of people say they value God, but their value ain't the same as your value. Find people who believe like you do. I tell people a good place to start finding people is church. I just said this on a Patreon video the other day. People will respond when I say that with, my church is full of idiots, my church is sheeple, my church just doesn't get it, my church is asleep. And I have two responses to that. The first one is train your church. Give classes, bring awareness, talk to people, and bring their alertness level up. That's what I've done. I've done that several times with churches. And then the other thing I say is, if that doesn't work, find another church. Why are you going there? I like the music and the show is good. Find another church. Form your own church. And when I say form your church, find a handful of people, get together, study the word, worship, talk, fellowship, break bread together, do that weekly. Bam, that's church. You don't need robes in a building and whatever. I'm getting off track. But here's my point. You out there in YouTube land can do these things that we've done. And that's why we do it. This is not a recruitment video for Shofar Mount. We're not looking for people. We're not. This is not for you to come join me. This is for you to go join another group or form your own, or, you move, whatever. And if you have excuses, cool, make them. I don't know you, so therefore I really don't care, right? Because I don't know you, but I have this feeling for humanity, and it's like trouble is coming. There are things you can do right now that will make your passage through those troubled times so much easier, so much less painful. And I would just like to see you take those steps now so that you avoid the pain. There's another whole section of Christian preppers that's like, oh, I'm getting raptured out of here. You think so, huh? You think that terrible things happening to America equates to tribulation and therefore you'll get raptured? What about the Christians in South Sudan? Horrific things happened and happening. What about the Christians in China? Horrible things. There ain't no rapture for them, is there? Yeah. Best get ready. Spend less time watching people like me on YouTube and and Twitter and less time doing that and more time taking real steps. And if you can't do this, then do that. But I'm telling you, I use that 19, now 20-year-old as an example. He had no money, and now he has land, and he has a cabin, and he has friends and family, and he got himself a job. And if he can do it, and he didn't even have a GED. Oh, and if he can do it, you can do it. Make all the excuses you want, then take your excuse and go, all right, how am I going to do this? Instead of thinking, here's why I can't do that, think, how am I going to do that? First thing is identify the problem. All right. Hey, I do videos like this every day almost on Patreon. $1 a month gets you started. You can pay $1. Watch for a month. You'll see, I think my wife told me yesterday I have 4,200 videos on Patreon. You can join for $1. You can check it out and you'll stay. But there you go. I'm giving that to you because I told the people on the forum that I would put it on YouTube so they could see my answer. That's what we're doing. Oh, there's another thing. I'm just noticing my Refuge Medical aid bag right there. We seek out training. We don't just train in-house. We seek out training. And so I just sent our two medical people We have a nurse and an EMT that's our doc here at this camp. And I sent them to training that touched on prolonged field care, IVs, things like that. But we sent them to that training. We send people to firearms training and stuff like that. We are constantly trying to get better at what we do as a group, and we include everybody. That's another thing. You have to have something for your old, feeble people to do and your young studs to do, and studettes. Family, tribe. Think about it. All right, I will. See you out there.